catchball, of course, is getting everybody involved. What do we mean by that? Well, the very important part is when the senior management comes up with maybe the Hoshins, the top-level view of what they want to do. And instead of taking it right then and then driving right down to the organization, all the other sub-steps that need to happen, all the other activities, all the other projects that will support that, what they do is they stop at that moment in time and say, okay, here I think is the strategic direction that we need to go. Let's see what the other folks think about this. And we use the term socialize. They socialize that idea. They inform, say, hey, look, guys, here's what we're thinking about doing. We think this makes sense. What do you think? And then actually give them a chance. In other words, don't give it to them on Friday morning and say, we got to know by Monday, what you think about this, right? So this takes a little bit of time. And you know what? When those guys come back and say, you gave us 4 ideas, I think 3 of them are pretty good with these small changes, but this one down here doesn't make a lot of sense. What if you turned it into this? Then we got to start being respectful of that. And what happens is you massage those ideas just enough to where you can get the buy-in from everybody. And then you move down to the next level. And you say, okay, well, how are we going to make that happen? Well, here's what we think we need to do, right? And now the middle managers are more involved. And once they come up with their ideas a little bit, who are they going to talk to? Their folks, right? And they're going to keep going back and forth. And you know what? They're going to start to transform these ideas a little bit, and that's going to have to be floated back up. And you see it's like playing a game of catch. We're going to do constant, instead of it being this real straight line where I start here and I blast all the way to there from beginning to end to get it done in 2 weeks, it's a lot of back and forth. It's a lot of back and forth. It sounds like waste, but it's not, because it's playing catch, if you will, with the right people. You're getting everybody on the team. You're getting everybody involved. And what we're driving for is at the end of this, we're going to have a plan that everybody's already going to be very intimate with. So it's not going to be one of these things. You ever had an issue? How many of you guys roll like objectives on an annual basis? Most of you? So if you're not raising your hand, you don't have annual objectives? I've run into that before, that's true. So if a lot of guys will either roll it like calendar year or physical year, but most of the time it's January. Everybody gets their new objectives in January. How many of you actually get the objectives in January? Right? How many of you actually get your 2009 objectives in like March? Or maybe how many of you are hoping that when you get back, you're going to actually have your 2009 objective, right? That happens a lot, right? And why is that? Because you're so busy trying to clean up the mess for 2008 that you really don't even have a plan, a really strategy for how I'm going to make 2009 somewhat better. You have all the good intentions. It's not a competence thing. It's not anybody doesn't want to do it. It's just it tends to happen that way. But if you get more and more people involved and you treat it as a continuous cycle instead of something that happens every year, but in a very discrete period of time, you're going to find that's going to start to go away. So then in December, everybody actually already has their objectives for 2009 or 2010, and they already are intimate with them. They're not reading them for the first time on January 1st and then figuring out how they're going to do it. They're already ramping up to make it happen. And that's where we're trying to go with catchball. Does that sound interesting?